Hello and welcome to lesson 510. We are going to start with working on some facts. So I would like you to get out your whiteboard marker and eraser. You can pause the video while you go get those supplies, and when you're ready, restart the video. You see that I have two facts on the board here. I have 10 times 8 and 9 times 8. We are going to think of 10 times 8 as our helper fact. How can we use 10 times 8 to figure out 9 times 8? Well, I know that 10 times 8 is 80, and I want to know what 9 times 8 is. So I would subtract one group of 8 and get 72. 10 times 8 is 80. I'm subtracting a group of 8 because I only want 9 8s. So 80 minus 8 is 72, which means 9 times 8 is 72. So on your board, I want you to use the steps that you would take to use 2 times 7 to help you figure out 4 times 7. Well, when I look at this, I know that 2 times 7 is 14, and I want 4 times 7. Well, that's not just one more 7, that's 2 more 7s. So I could use my doubling strategy. So I will start with 2 times 7, which is 14, and I'm going to double the 14 to get 28. So I can take 14 plus 14, add those together, and get to 28. So that means 4 times 7 equals 28. And lastly, think of 3 times 8. That's going to be our helping fact. How can we use that helper fact to figure out 6 times 8? Well, 3 times 8 is 24. That's 3 times 8, but I want 6 times 8. So I know that 3 is half of 6. So if I double again, I should get my answer. So I'm going to take 2 times 4, or not 2 times 4, sorry, 24, and I'm going to add it again. I'm going to double that. That's 8. 2 plus 2 is 4, so that's 48. So 3 times 8 is 24. I'm going to double that because I want 6 times 8. 6 times 8 is 48. These are just examples of how we can use smaller facts to solve larger facts. Go and get your math journal and turn to page 183. I'll give you a minute to get there. All right. So this is something that I want you to take some time just to see what you can come up with. I'll read it to you. You follow along with me. There are 10 children on Maurice's baseball team. The coach gives each child 2 granola bars from a package of 24 bars. The coach gets the leftover granola bars. How many granola bars does Maurice's coach get? And what do you need to find out? Use words or pictures to show what you know about the problem and how to solve it. Well, let's go back to the problem before you start to work on it on your own and see what we know. We know that there are 10 children on the team. The coach gives each child 2 granola bars, and there are 24 granola bars altogether. The coach gets what's left over. What do you need to find out? You need to find out how many granola bars Maurice's coach gets. So I want you to pause the video, and on page 183, I want you to use words or pictures or a combination of both to see if you can figure out the problem. And then we'll come back. All right, now that we're back and you've hopefully come up with some ideas, what did you do to solve the problem? Well, here's what I did. I multiplied 10 times 2. And I did that first because I know that there are 10 children and they each get 2 granola bars. And I know that 10 times 2 is 20. Okay? But I'm not finished with the problem because this is telling me how many granola bars that the children get. But I want to know how many the coach gets. Well, I'm then going to take 24 because that's how many granola bars there were in the package. I'm going to subtract the 20 granola bars that he passed out, and 24 minus 20 is 4. So that means that the coach gets 4 granola bars because that's what is left over. In your folder that was picked up, there is a paper that looks like this. It says Button Dolls. And it has an outline of a figure here. And it has a story at the top. This is the story. So I'm going to read this story to you. You can go ahead and get this out. Pause the video. Come back. And then I'll read the story to you. Now that you're back, follow along with the story at the top of your page while I read. And while I'm reading it, I want you to think about what you understand from the story. Tanya is making button dolls for the school fair. On each doll, she uses 2 buttons for the eyes, 1 button for the nose, 3 buttons for the clothes. There are 8 buttons in each package. Tonya needs to buy packages of buttons so that all of the buttons will be used without any left over. How many packages could she buy? How many dolls will that make? Well, let's think about what we understand from the story. She's going to make button dolls. On each doll, she uses 2 buttons for eyes, 1 button for the nose, 3 buttons for the clothes. So that's what she needs to put on each doll. We also know that there are 8 buttons in each package. So she needs to buy packages of buttons so that all the buttons will be used without any left over. So that means she needs to keep making dolls until she doesn't have any buttons left over. Your task is 2 things. How many packages could she buy? And how many dolls will that make? So on the paper that you have an outline of the doll. You could draw some things on that doll to see how many buttons that she'll need for each doll. And then you need to determine how many packages is she going to need and how many dolls will she make. If she doesn't want any buttons left over, there can be no buttons left over. On the back side of that paper, that's this page right here. You've got room to do any of your when in doubt, draw it outs right here. Okay? So then at the end of the page, how many packages could she buy? And how many dolls will that make? See what you can come up with for that. And then, math boxes, page 184. Good luck with everything.